For more, listen to the podcast. Just search for Hancock and Kelley.
Republican presidential hopefuls faced off in a third debate, but without Donald Trump for a third straight time. Vivek Ramaswamy seemed to be channeling Mr. Trump, going after Nikki Haley, the only female candidate, over her footwear.
Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
I wear heels. They're not for a fashion statement. They're for ammunition.
She later called him scum when he brought up her daughter's use of TikTok. There were only 5 candidates on stage this time instead of 8 or 9 as in the 2 previous debates. Michael, who took the greatest advantage of the extra time and space?
Donald Trump, who's going to be the Republican nominee. These folks were always
pick one of the 5.
But having said that, Nikki Haley is the best candidate running for president for the Republicans and potentially even the Democrats. She's competent, she's smart, she connects on levels that I think the voters, if given the opportunity, would elect her. Fortunately, the Republican Party is obsessed with Donald Trump, and that spells great opportunity for those of my friends in the Democratic Party.
John, I checked the Real Clear Politics average of all the national polls. Trump 58, DeSantis 14 in second place. 44 points.
Yeah, it's over. I mean, it's over. And Donald Trump's going to be the Republican nominee.
Is there any way any of these people can make a bigger dent than they're making?
Sure. The Cardinals could go out and sign, the 3 best pitchers in the history of baseball and make the playoffs next year. Not likely to happen. And, I mean, is there a chance? People say, Donald Trump's going to say something or do something that's going to cost him the nomination? Well, that's not going to happen. It's going to be Donald Trump. I don't think it's going to be Biden, but it's going to be Donald Trump. And then there is a less than 0.1% chance that any of these other people will be the nominee.
He mentioned Joe Biden. Whoever the Republican nominee is, the calls among Democrats are growing louder to nominate someone other than President Biden. He continues to run unopposed, but as John mentioned last week, polls showing him losing to Donald Trump in key battleground states, including Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada. This is all the norm now. These polls they're sort of being repeated. We're seeing the same results, poll after poll, for a couple of weeks in a row here. Those were all narrow wins for Biden in 2020. Those states made him president. David Axelrod, a top Democrat political guru for former President Obama, posted on social media that Mr. Biden needs to consider whether it's in his best interest or the country's to continue his bid for a second term. Michael, there's been a slow trickle of this stuff. It's not random or accidental, isn't it? Is there something to this?
No, I think Americans and Democrats are all watching the same thing we've all seen. President Biden is not the same human being he was a year ago, and for that matter, 2 years ago. And I think we know as he ages and his faculties continue to decline, he may not even be the same guy he is a year from now. Having said that, it's his prerogative as the incumbent president to run for re-election, and he's choosing to do it. And if the binary choice comes down between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, it's going to be a successful year for Joe Biden. I think David Axelrod's asking a larger, more global question, is what does the Democratic Party need for the next 5 to 6 years? And there's no question that there's an appetite out there for us to continue with the policies of Joe Biden, but to switch horses, and it may not be a bad strategy.
Can't you open it up and have a field of candidates like on the Republican side? Democrats don't want that.
I don't know what the last time we had a legitimate president challenge. It probably was Ted Kennedy against Carter, and it didn't go well.
Yeah, I mean, if Biden chooses to run and they can't stop him, the powers that be in the Democratic Party, there's no doubt in my mind that there is an organized effort underway among Democrats who are scared to try and get Joe Biden to step aside so they can nominate somebody who can win. Whether they're successful in that is a different story, but is it happening? Yes. Is there a desire there to change? Yes. Do they maybe avoid that because the Republicans are about to nominate a former president whose favorability rating's in the 30s? So maybe they get away with it, but I still think Biden will not be the nominee.
Can Trump beat him?
Yeah.
Yeah. You say no way?
Well, I hope not. Anything can happen on Election Day, and particularly if the president continue to have issues. I still think the Democrats are going to win this election, no matter if it's Joe Biden or the governor of California or the governor of Illinois. The Republicans' pathway to the White House is nearly impossible.
Still to come on Hancock and Kelley, Democrats, a party divided. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib censured, and her ally, St. Louis Congresswoman Cori Bush, the target of a new ad campaign for refusing to support Israel. Are they fueling anti-Semitism?